Hi, welcome to Cormac Talks. Today we're talking about sales. I know a bit about sales. I was a sales manager for more than 4 years for small and medium businesses. And I wanna have an approach that's gonna be threefold. There's gonna be the agent level, so frontline, the team manager level, so the people that manage the front line that sells, and then the sales manager level, which is something I've occupied as a position for 4 years, that manages the people that manage the sellers or the salesmen or the salespeople. What's the number one quality for a salesman? And I'm gonna start by a funny analogy. We all have bought gas for our cars at some point. And then when you go to gas up, the machine, or at least in Canada, asks you if you want a car wash with that. And if you're like me, a lot of times you're like, no, 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 get me out of here. It's too cold. I don't have time. Get me out of here. I don't want it. But sometimes my car is dirty and my car needs a wash. And I don't have time to wash it myself and blah, blah, blah. Well, I take the car wash at $12.99 or $7.99 for the basic one. What does that machine do that not a lot of people do? Is that to every single customer that's going to pull into that gas station, it's going to offer the car wash. And that's regularity. And that's the number one attribute for a good salesman, is they pitch all the time. They pitch all the time. They don't pitch it sometimes. No, they pitch all the time. Well, you have to resolve customers' issue and earn the right, like they said. But once you do all of that, you don't look for a reason to not pitch it. You look for a reason to pitch it. So pitch it. Be regular. The second trait of a great salesman, and as crazy as it might sound, is to know the product. Know what you're talking about. If you don't know the product, you're not going to be able to offer it. You might jam it to somebody's throat and they're going to buy it because they feel forced. Or if they're courageous enough, they're going to go, you know what? Leave me alone. I don't want your thing. But if you know it well, and you know it well enough to explain it in simple terms, so it answers customers' needs, then you're going to be a good salesman. Picture yourself walking to a restaurant and you just sat down and the waiter comes in already with a plate and a drink. Doesn't bother asking you what you want. They just say, you know what? He looks to me like he likes pasta and he likes pina colada. How would you feel? No, nobody would feel great. Like, what do you mean? Who tells you this is what I want to eat? No. So a good salesman doesn't just pitch a product to you. He asks you first, what are your needs? What do you want? If I ask you today, what's the best car in the world? What's the best car in the world? There's no one answer. It's going to vary depending on the people. And even within the same people, depending on where they're at in their life, depending on where they live, depending if they already have a car, if they're looking for a second one, is it the first, is it the third? The answer is going to differ. So you have to ask before you propose something, or else you'll feel like you're in a restaurant, just sat down, and somebody shows up with food and drinks for you without asking you what you wanted. So ask questions, ask open-ended questions, and listen. Listen to what you're being told. Customers giving you the gold mine, say, this is what I'm looking for. If you give me a product that's going to answer the needs I'm giving you, I'm most likely going to buy it. It's not you that's selling, it's the customers that's buying. So ask questions. Don't have any preconceived ideas. because not everybody is like you. Not everybody thinks like you. Not everybody looks like you. So don't assume. And like somebody said once, and I loved it, also keep your mind out of your customer's wallet. Don't say, oh, it's too expensive. If I offer it, he's going to say no. You don't know. Offer it, and then you know. Did you know that in a call center, at least in the telecom industry, if you sell 3 to 5% of the time of the people you talk to, it's a good average. 3 to 5%, meaning you can ask 100 people and 95 of them would say no, and you're still within the average. Well, that's what we're talking about. Don't take no personal, because 95 times out of 100, he might say no. It's easier for a machine that doesn't have any feelings to be hurt, to propose all the time, I understand. But the most successful salesmen are the ones that pitch it every single time after asking, what are the customer's needs? You're not even selling at that point. You're giving a solution to somebody's needs and problems. So that's one of the traits that we're looking for in a good salesman. Know your product, pitch it with regularity, ask questions, and listen to the answers you're being given. That's at customer service frontline level. If you go a level above, people that manage those people, so team leaders in charge of those sales team, they also have to be knowledgeable of the product. Because if they don't know the product and their team has questions, who are they going to ask? Who are they going to ask if the person they were going to ask does not know the answer and they're supposed to be the supporter, number one supporter, and he doesn't know or she doesn't know? So as team manager, well, know the product, because you won't be able to help them if you don't know the product. Don't know the product and you're listening to their calls to see whatever they're talking about on their calls. You don't know if they offered it well enough after doing the needs analysis. So know the product. These are the basics of the product. So you can coach somebody to offer it after they know what the needs are. Another thing that's important for the managers is presence. Listen to my calls. You can't come and say you've sold nothing. What's up? Well, I've been maybe offering it on every call and you don't know that. There's a different approach to coming to someone that hasn't sold anything but that has not offered anything versus the person who offered it on every single call but just doesn't know how to position it well enough so it's accepted, doesn't do the needs analysis. So you're going to coach differently, and you should. You just can't come and base yourself on the results. Say, oh, you haven't sold anything today. What are you doing? You have to listen to calls. If you're managing a hockey team, well, you do training and you see them skate on the ice. You look at video. Why would it be any different for a sales team? Be present, be attentive to what they do, and catch people do something good, not the other way around. We're tempted to say, ha, you didn't do it. Okay, how about, ha, you did it, and you never done it before. So I come and I say, kudos, give me a second one. And then it becomes second habit because they've done it once, they broke the ice, and now they can do it again, and they get confident as they go. So reward the people that do the behavior you're looking for, and they'll be enticed to do it more. Celebrate people that do well. How about a round of applause? Hey, he just sold 10 device protection. Who is it? Yeah, everybody would like to be recognized, whether it's in public, whether it's private. Everybody likes recognition. So recognize them. And then they'll do it more often. If I go at the level above, which is my role, which is being a sales manager that manage people that manage sales. Publicity. So having a board where all the teams of the contact center are in. So you have what, 40 teams sometimes. Everybody likes to be at the top and nobody likes to be at the bottom. So if you have a table that's updated every half hour, every hour with real-time results, things change usually very quickly. If you have a touch base a few times a day, mine it was in the morning, midday, and end of day with the managers of those teams. On okay, tell me what's going on your teams. You had an objective of 40 device protection. Where are you at? I'm at 0. Okay, well, kudos for knowing your numbers first, because some people are at 0 and they don't know. By the time they know, the day's over, and you've lost a day. You're 0, okay. What's the reason? Do you know? Yeah, well, my top salesmen are not in today. They're on vacation. Okay. What about the other ones? No, they're not good. Okay, well, all your sales were coming from the same 2 people. You're very dependent. You're gonna have to have another strategy. 80% of your team does not sell. And it's easier to ask somebody who has not sold to get 1 unit than to ask your 2 tops to double their amount of units because they're already gassed. So don't neglect that middle ground of people that could give you just 1 more, but there's enough of them that's going to have an impact and a huge impact on your team. And you'll have the bottom performers where they're not even offering. There's nothing else you could do. You're going to go most likely disciplinary if you've tried everything else before. But you know, you cannot sell to everyone, but you could charm everyone. You cannot sell to everyone, but you can offer to everyone. And that's one thing I would not negotiate on. Offer the product. Every time I go to McDonald's, and I go less and less and less because it's not good for my body. But every time I go, they offer me the apple pie. Every time. And sometimes I take it because I feel like an apple pie. Just like I take the wash from my car wash. It's the regularity that brings it. Do the same thing. Be the apple pie at McDonald's. I want to hear it at the end of every call. Yeah, that's how. And I used to host a gala of the best salesman of the quarter every quarter for the people at for the work at business, so for small and medium businesses. That event was a big thing. It was a big thing. We were at it was a 1-story building. We were at the first level, so base like ground level, and then you had the first floor. First floor was consumer. We were business. Every time I hosted that party, people from consumer, we were in the halls as well, everybody would see us. People would wonder like what's going on. They would hear clapping, music. We would buy balloons. There was food after the event. I would buy like medals and a big trophy. The big trophy would go to the best salesman of the quarter, but then you'll have medals for different categories and the best improvement and blah blah blah. And then I would MC the whole thing and then just call people up and say, hey, for device protection, for iPhone sales, this is number 1, number 2, number 3. And then you would have the big bosses in-house to come in and congratulate the people. You would have diplomas that you would give them or certificates. It was before the pandemic, so everybody was in-house. There was no virtual and remote work at that time, but still. I don't need to tell you that the person that would have the big trophy, that would get to keep it for the whole quarter because the event was every quarter, would be very proud of that trophy. And then when you walk in the call center, the first thing you would see, because it's very plain and it would just stick up on top of their desk. And that's what recognition does. It doesn't need to be money because Not everybody needs money. Sometimes they have a good base salary and say, no, I don't need extra money. But everybody would like to be recognized for what they do well. And if you do that well enough, you're going to motivate people to not just be salesmen, but good interviewers, good question askers, because that's what it is. It used to be called sales. Today, it's all about how do I converse and get to know customers' problems and give them a solution for it. That's what we used to call sales. Well, today, it's something completely different and a lot more valorizing for every human being that's in it. So let me know if you've liked this segment. Subscribe, click the like button, share, put in the comments. What do you think? If you agree or not, if it helped you or not, if there's other subjects that you'd like me to discuss here in Callmark Talks, and I will. And welcome to the community, and I'll talk to you soon for a different subject. Take care. Bye.